you know, we want to welcome everybody here.
Everything all at once?
Everything all at once.
It's honestly a sensation.
Aliens listen to it.
Hello, and welcome to Everything at Once.
Hey, welcome.
We are so glad that you guys tuned in. Thank you for stopping by and checking us out. We have a couple quick announcements before we get into the action. First off, we have started a Patreon account. It is a huge step for us in finding new ways to bring you guys amazing content that you love and enjoy. We have two Patreon producers. You could be a Patreon producer too if you choose to. We also have an assistant and an intern level Patreon subscription available to you. All of this money is going directly back into the show. It's going right here. It's going to buy equipment for us. It's going to offer us the means to be able to continue to expand and offer incredible new content that you had never thought of in your wildest dreams.
And it's barely thought of in our wildest dreams.
It was barely thought of in our wildest dreams.
We went to some pretty new planes. We'd also like to shout out exclusively Josh and Sadie for being producer level Patreon backers.
Those guys are amazing.
They're incredible.
Thank you for believing in us. We believe in you guys too.
We do believe in you too. But that's not all that we're offering. We also have some advertising space that we're making available.
That's right. Advertisements. Reach a new audience. Reach an ever-changing audience. Find a new audience. Offer your services, your skills, whatever it is that you're offering to brand new people and increase your market space. It's so cheap, you can't go wrong.
It's so cheap that the first person that I told how much it costs, they went, "Holy cow, that's the cheapest ad space I've ever seen."
You aren't going to believe it. We're basically giving it to you. So really just text us and you can have some almost with a little bit of money. That's it.
Just a little bit.
Tiny bit.
Tiniest bit.
We're also offering some other new services. I've been doing a lot of photography, which you guys have seen, some of you on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm looking to do more of that. If you have a photo shoot that you want done or any sort of photography, hit us up. I'm your man. We're also offering videography services and graphics design. So if you have a flyer or an event or an invitation that you need something custom and original and unique, please let us know. Message us, call us, text us for those of you that know us. Get at us, and we're happy to do this for you.
And we are of service to you any time. We're that's what we're here for. But enough about us. We have some great guests that we had on this week.
Oh, we sure did, Dave. We had Matt and Sonia of Cauldron Thorne, proprietors of fine magical goods here in Erie, the one and only, as far as I know, metaphysical shop around here.
I think it is.
It really is. And their stuff is truly unique to our area. It's amazing. It's so cool. They have so much awesome stuff. Go there. Buy a gift for your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever, your friend, your mom, your dad. There's literally stuff there for everybody. And it's so cool. They have classes. And they're just like genuine, really interesting, fun people. And we had a great time recording this show with them.
And they had a cool, awesome backstory too. And you know, Tony, I think at the end of the day, you could really say that they run a grocery shop for the soul.
Indeed, a grocery shop or grocery store for the soul. It nourishes your soul. It's enlightening. It's amazing. It has all of these good things to help you care for yourself and help nourish that inner growth. And without further ado, we're going to let you get right into it. Thank you guys so much for putting up with this little nonsense thing we're doing here. We love you.
We love you.
We hope you love us too.
Change is good.
Yeah.
Change is good.
Yeah.
We were ready for change.
Yeah.
And it happened at a great time as well, right before when the panini happened, of course.
Yeah, panini. We don't say.
This is not social media, so we can't say pandemic. Can
we can say pandemic because
not panini.
Not panini. No. So
why is that?
Facebook,
The algorithm doesn't
YouTube,
like it.
the algorithms will
Absolutely.
They
Listen
will
and go,
shut
what the heck?
you down.
Even though you
That
could be
is
saying something completely.
a constant battle too, is those algorithms and everything to try and reach any sort of audience.
Yeah.
You're constantly fighting them. They want the money.
They want the money.
They want
You
to
gotta
boost
play
your...
by their rules.
Yeah.
Right. It's unfortunate.
So no talk of the panini.
Yeah.
No panini talk.
It was a big panini.
It was a huge
Yes,
panini.
but we're glad that we moved right before the panini happened, the pandemic happened, and everything else happened. So it all was perfect timing.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
the pandemic for us was not the typical pandemic experience either. So
My pandemic experience was pretty great, other than in the beginning when I was like really concerned that
Everybody was gonna
everybody was
die.
going to die and the fall of humanity and all of these things. That was a little concerning. We stocked up on food and all the other things that you need if you're going to survive an apocalypse.
I can't
And
lie, I was excited.
Listen, I'm an introvert. I was built for this. It was fine.
I had a great pandemic too,
Yeah.
honestly.
I mean, after that first 2 weeks was done and people weren't like carrying torches down the streets, I was pretty okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
The
it-
sickness, not so much, but the part about taking some time and being home was really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Working from home was a huge benefit and detriment at the same time, because I loved working from home, but I am absolutely awful at working. Working from home is really a questionable term for what I was doing from home. Just because I get really distracted real easy, especially when I'm home and all my things are here for me to play with and have
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
Hey, it's quality over quantity. As long as you hit the
Right,
marks.
exactly. That's very key too.
We did a lot of traveling
So
during the
did-
pandemic, believe it or not.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
We traveled all over the country.
Las Vegas in the
We're-
middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, we were filming in
It was
LA. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
We went
My
to LA
first time
too.
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like a month in, or like 3 or 4 months into the pandemic, we're like, wow, these flight tickets are so cheap, and Airbnbs are so cheap, and car rent, everything's so cheap. We paid like $500 for a whole trip plus
We're like,
whatever we
can
spent
do the
there.
Upgrade.
We were in Vegas. Yeah, we stayed at the Venetian. We were actually in the theater room for $150.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah, that had like a bathroom that was like had 3 separate bathrooms. It had like a
It was amazing.
it had like a dance hall for a shower. It was crazy, right?
Sounds pretty sweet.
It was, but it was weird because I was stationed in Bridgeport, California, so we used to go to Vegas on the weekends. But in the 90s, so if you're out there for any period, you're kind of used to the rhythm of. Even then, they were still working on the Strip. It was still mainly Fremont and stuff like that. But the amount of people that was out there, but it was so weird. We went into the high-end mall there by the Cosmo, where they had Versace and Gucci, and we were the only people in the mall.
Yeah,
That was like total zombie apocalypse feeling.
it was weird.
yeah.
We went to Beverly Hills and nobody was on Rodeo Drive. Nobody
Right.
was on the malls. Nobody was driving. Actually, there were still a fair amount of like Lamborghinis and Porsches driving around on the road, but other than that, it was like empty. It was
It's crazy.
very strange.
That
Not
was
what I
my
imagined.
first time ever going out to see that side of the country, and I remember Matt saying to me, "Take it in now because you'll never see this again." Like the fact you could go down and you could literally there was nothing obstructing your view because there was no people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
A lot of the shows and a lot of things were closed down, but you could really take it all in because there wasn't hustle and bustle. It was
Right, yeah.
pretty calm.
There were still some street hustlers out there and stuff like there usually was, and they were a little more aggressive. And I think that's because there was
less customers.
There was nobody else there to.
Shaking out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then when we got to California, we were in Upland for filming, and then we went up to Calabasas. So I went out there to the coast, out to Santa Monica Pier, and then up through Malibu and Calabasas, all the places we used to surf when I was younger, and it was kind of like going to see the stuff, and it was just there was still, of course, the 401 was still backed up, and it was just crazy. But as far as like
Like city streets and
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, up through Malibu and Calabasas, it wasn't
The norm.
the norm. Yeah, you
Right.
could really tell it wasn't the norm. I can't remember street and road names I used to drive all the time, but now it's funny looking back at that, right? So
Yeah, it was an interesting time for everybody, and that's when you guys decided to move up to Erie. Right now, we are talking with Matt and Sonia, the owners of Cauldron Thorne,
hello.
and we're getting a little bit of a background on how they came into Cauldron Thorne, which is a relatively new business
Yes.
around here. As
Yeah.
far as I would consider relatively new.
Year and a half, yeah.
Not a lot of new things happen around here. Well, new things are happening around here, but
they
like
are.
it seems like it takes a little while for it to not be new, and I would definitely still consider you guys new.
Well, we see new people every day, so it's like the fun thing we like to see is whether or not when you come through the door, if you've ever been into the store, because the first 6 months we were in what's now our classroom, so it was very, very small. And we had classes, and we sold everything we had there, so we'd move everything. And now, of course, we bought the entire building and moved into the other side of the building. And the building is funny because the way it's designed, if you look at it from, we just kind of looked into it, if you look at it from Crossroad to parking lot at the athletic club, you can kind of see the scale of it. It's actually shaped like a big pyramid. And then but if you pull into our parking lot, you walk, you think it's very small, and then it opens up to these huge cathedral ceilings and, the statuary and fountains and things like that. So people are like, so that's the fun part of the day, is to see new people coming into the shop.
People have said to us, it's like you guys just appeared out of a portal, like, who are you and what is this place? And we never heard anything about it, and all of a sudden you're here, because literally that is how fast the idea, we ran with it and we made it happen.
We could tell you, but then we'd have to kill you.
No.
Magic is on our side.
Yeah, the magic is on your side. I remember the first time I went there, I had never heard of it before, and it was a full moon or a new moon ceremony that you guys were having, and like just that same effect. I opened the doors. I thought it was going to be a relatively small shop, and I'm like, where has this place been? Because you guys have so much stuff, so much cool and interesting stuff all throughout this whole big giant space that I never even had been in before, and was expecting something much smaller. Because usually when I think of like a spiritual store, what would you guys call yourself?
Metaphysical, witch shop,
supply.
Witch shop, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, because usually when I think of that, or when I've been to other metaphysical or oddities or what have you kind of shops in other cities, it's always a very small location that is jam-packed with stuff.
Right.
Yes.
And well, that's how we started. But of course, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to peg your meter there.
No, you're all right. You're right.
I'll
no
move
worries.
back a little bit.
It'll all get fixed up by the computer. It does fancy work. Yeah.
Yes, post. We'll fix it in post. But first off, we need more stuff, and we're constantly getting more stuff. We look for stuff we haven't seen, stuff other people haven't seen. The real problem is when we moved up here, I mean, one of the main things is we actually have another business that we came to the area to be closer to. And also the house provided us a operating space. Actually, it worked out perfect. It wasn't intended for the panini, that we could sit there and do all of our office work. We could do shipping. We could do all kinds of things because our business was online. And then our son decided he was going to the Air Force, which we were very happy for him because, you don't ever want to see, your kid out of high school just kind of sitting there because he can't do anything.
Floundering,
So, and he's amazingly smart person, very altruistic, very giving. So he joined the Air Force and went out west, and we were bored. And while we were traveling, as we were talking about before, out west and stuff like that, we were stopping at metaphysical shops and things like that because it was spiritual supply, so it was one of the few things that was open. And it didn't matter where we went, they were all constantly hopping. Now, I've been in this world since I was knee-high to a pig's eye. I grew up in Appalachia, a traditional church in Appalachia, but there's nothing traditional about Appalachia, and it doesn't matter if you're Baptist, Catholic, Brethren like myself, non-denominational. You did things, what they call mountain conjure now is the hot term, but we called it granny magic. It was just herbalism, different things like that.
Sure.
Different superstitions, practices, roots, bones. It was kind of like a mix of hoodoo, old Celtic paganism, Germanic paganism. What the Amish, a lot of people don't realize, the Amish, the term powwow is actually Amish. The Amish powwow is a gathering where they do magical workings. The Amish have their own magic system, and the person that conducts that is the Hexmeister. So, a lot of people do not realize that exists in Amish culture.
I feel like that's kind of a common thing among a lot of more orthodox religions, like
Right.
Kabbalah and
Yeah.
Orthodox Judaism.
Yeah.
They all have very ritualistic things that a lot of people aren't really aware of.
And a lot of times people don't realize, like we have a joke around the shop, is a lot of people come in from, Catholics will come in and they'll see a statue of St. Bridget, I'm saying St. Bridget because I'm thinking of it in the Catholic term, and go, oh, look, it's St. Bridget's cross. And, immediately, my collegiate training, I'm like, I have to go into, well, before she was St. Bridget, she was Bridget the goddess. And she was so important that the Catholic Church couldn't move ahead with, basically converting the Irish population without bringing her into the fold.
Was she a tri-goddess?
No, Bridget wasn't. Bridget was, she was just very much hearth and home.
Mm-hmm.
She was, she was very much the light, the love God, light and love, basically what we picture how, what we think of a traditional God, merciful, nurturing, all these things she embodied to the, Irish people, where you would have in Celtic religion, like the tri-gods, like Morrigan and Maeve and different, people like that. And then you have Lou, very warlike, all these, very war. Bridget wasn't. Bridget was, very much the peaceful, basically goddess of hearth and home who, kept everything going.
So you mentioned like college there a little bit.
Yeah.
So you've studied this at a collegiate level, like spiritualism at a collegiate level?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the military, which is a whole different thing, I'd just say that when I'd be on ship deployed, they would bring in college professors, whether from Webster, UNC, UNCW, Duke. So I kind of have a finger in all these different colleges without actually, graduating from them. But I attended a dozen different colleges. And of course, the classes that they were offered weren't things like I love like chemistry and physics or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was like theology, folklore. Basically those are the only professors that thought it would be cool to get on a helicopter and fly out to a ship in the middle of the ocean and teach a whole bunch of jarheads and Navy personnel certain classes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, it kind of blossomed from there. As I said, growing up, all these different things were represented in the church, but of course, if it was done outside church, it was witchcraft. Right?
Exactly.
But everybody called each other, in Appalachia, everybody was a witch. And I know you experienced it and seen it. You had your water witches, your witch doctors, your good witch, your evil
Green
witches.
witch.
Yeah. Well, no, that was totally different. So it just kind of weird that they refer to everybody had a special talent, like water dowsing as water witches and things like that. So I was always very comfortable with it, and then just finally it just progressed as I started practicing and researching and felt more comfortable with pre-Christian religions than I did with actual Christian religions. So that's kind of where I went. So
Went down the path towards the fundamentals.
yeah, and now look, it's all these decades later, and here we are.
Right.
So,
You can't hide what's inside.
no. So I'm doing all the talking. You need to talk. Stop me.
Let's see. What can I say? Well, we like to think of our store as a basically like a supermarket for the soul, because we are all on our own paths, and we are all the sum of our own experiences. How we grew up, what we were exposed to, people we came in contact with, just the choices and doors that we've walked through. And so at this point, we're happy to be able to serve other people by just putting out things, just like I said, like a grocery market where you come in and you get to pick, like, what is it that you want to work on today that's going to help you work on yourself,
Right.
To be able to bring forth positive changes.
I feel like there's been a huge need for this kind of store for a long time in Erie. Erie's always been kind of, at least to me, like an occulty kind of town where, people have had like ghost stories or hauntings or practiced witchcraft or history of witchcraft. But we've had like metaphysical stores and stores that sell like crystals and gems and all those kinds of things. But I feel like yours really encompasses a much more diverse area than I want to say like new age spiritualism compared to, I would call you guys like more witchcraft based, more occult based, more more folklore.
Yeah,
yeah.
We cover a little bit of it all.
Yeah, and we stress that like a lot of our long-term customers know, we are neutral ground.
Yeah.
And that's for anybody, you know.
I'm going to definitely say that ignorance is bliss. You've heard that. And when we moved here, to put it in perspective, right before the pandemic happened. And so we found a beautiful old home, of course, the home that everybody thought was haunted in town.
Sure.
About
Nobody
an
else
hour
wanted.
away.
Yeah, exactly.
The old 1800 Tudor-style home with all the cupboards like Harry Potter would live in. And we moved in right before it happened. And so when we moved in, that happened, what felt like the world closed down. We didn't have a chance to really even meet our community, and we were inside for a long time. We worked from home, and for a long time, you have really a chance to sit with your thoughts about what you want. We are big believers that when you are yourself, you give permission to other people to be themselves as well.
Sure.
When we moved here and we decided to go ahead and put a physical place, like a place that we wish existed ourselves, like you mentioned about, there's some places around, we would travel all over and take trips out of state, but we could never find a place that had everything into it. And of course, everybody has their own take, and we come from a very creative world. So we thought, we could do our own take on it and create a place that we wish existed, but we did not know one person in Erie, not one.
That's scary.
So yeah, right. But we took the leap. Like we say, magic was on our side, but the thought was, well, you never know unless you try. And we've always leaned into things when you get those nudges and you get those downloads and you get those feelings like, we should do this. We should totally do this.
Yeah.
So maybe it's good that we don't know the back history of, any sort of, things that have happened in the past, because all we know is we opened our doors, fresh eyes to Erie. And when you are yourself, it's amazing. I know we've all heard the saying that your vibe attracts your tribe and energy attracts energy. Yeah, when you do that, what you realize is you open your doors and you don't know anybody. And all of a sudden, somebody comes. And it happens day after day after day.
It wasn't just somebody
and then they bring their
came. It
friends
was like
and their
everybody
family. And you're like, oh my gosh, you guys are so cool, right? So now it just feels like we really found a bunch of people that are people. We get each other.
So did you guys didn't know a single person in Erie. How'd you decide on Erie?
It was probably the closest big center to where we were living, in the rural area, an hour outside of Erie. Yeah. So we do the hour-plus commute every day to come into our store and to go back home. And so, like I said, we come from a creative world. So our background is this is not our first business, and that we are known in the creative industry for a specialty paint that we make.
Oh, cool.
And, so we've been growing that for a long time. We learned a lot. And, we were able to work that from home, as Matt said, and have an online business. And we really finessed that to being a world-known brand. And then completely separate, this was like a project okay, now let's take what we've learned and do something else that we really feel passionate about.
Sure.
And so that's why I think you learn, and you're able to carry the experiences that you have with you and what you've learned in business as well, to be able to bring that forward. So when you combine passion and business savvy and you put it all together, it's a beautiful cocktail. And then you throw in some weirdness and some, and then you let it all hang out.
A bunch of ambition.
It's amazing the people that show up to hang out with you.
I think the key word that she said, let it all hang out, is when we opened, we didn't want to be categorized as a hippie shop.
Sure.
Or
we got plenty of those.
And that's usually how in different communities that, witch shops and metaphysical shops are accepted, is you have a hippie shop and then you start introducing triquartas or cauldrons or sage or different things like that. And, we wanted to make sure that we're transparent, we're a neutral place, we welcome everybody.
And you can be yourself.
You can be yourself, and if you have questions, ask. We will answer any questions no matter, we don't care what your background is, what your beliefs are, what your belief systems. We have everything from the Abrahamic religions to, New Age thought. So
Do you still get an inordinate amount of hippies? Just with like the type of shop that it is.
Yeah, I think this world crosses over. To
because
a lot
the New
of different
Agers.
beliefs.
Because the New Agers.
So-
And we don't have an issue. We don't have any kind of issue or anything like that. It was just kind of, I think, because of growing up, in the 80s and 90s, because it wasn't like looked on well, a metaphysical shop, that it was okay to mix that world because you had a little more freedom. Under the hippie moniker, because I was a deadhead in high school, and things like that, because people, you would just be like, oh, it's just a hippie shop, right?
Right. Somehow it's
Easier to dismiss.
palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more easier to be accepting sometimes and to hide behind. And so, we are at a point in our life where we just
We don't
want
care.
No, we're
Sure.
just
We
ourselves.
don't care.
And you know what? You do you.
Yeah. I
dig
And
it.
we understand that, like we kind of touched on before, that you are the sum of your experiences, and what you've gone through, nobody else has gone through. And what got you here and how you feel is based on your own reality. And so, when you start thinking about everything that you've, when you were younger and that you learned about when you were under maybe parental figures or other guardians around you, where did they hear that information that was fed to you? So to be able to be fast forward to a point in your life that you can make your own decisions, you can make life whatever you want it to be. And carrying a stone in your pocket, if it gives you courage because you have a piece of tiger eye, because,
grounding.
warriors, carried it into battle for ages. And like I'll never forget that we had a mom come into our store and she said, I'm here with my daughter, and her daughter was really shy, and she's like, she has to do some public speaking and she's really scared. So can you pick her out and help her find a good stone that she can just kind of keep in her pocket just to
Nice.
help her, just to remain strong. And so she ended up getting a piece of tiger eye, and that made her feel good. She smiled and she just felt like, okay, I got something in my toolkit.
Nice. That's
So,
beautiful.
Yeah. So that's cool, right?
Were you guys scared at all when you started about the stigma behind having a witch store?
No.
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 I mean, maybe scared is the wrong word, but were you
Worried about it? The only thing I didn't want was anybody protesting.
Yeah.
Because
Erie's a Catholic town.
most
places are.
Yeah, most places are. But
Don't make me get the goats.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make us get together. That was kind of our go-to. Is like, we're going to get the goats out of the back. They show up. We're getting the goats out. But that was kind of the thing. Was
That's awesome. Did you guys have goats?
no.
No, but
you-
I think
you
we
would've
should get
got
some
some.
chickens.
Yeah, we
I
just
think
wanted-
we might need some chickens.
I think it was. It's not so much as the protesting thing was. I could care less. You want to come out, do your thing, right? But the point of it is the problem for me is not so much that aspect of it. It was the fact that, I served in the military. I swore an oath to the Constitution. And the big one under the First Amendment, besides freedom of speech and protest and right to gather,
Right.
is religious freedom.
Absolutely.
This country is founded on religious freedom of people trying to break away from their church and start their own ideas of how to worship what they interpret as the grand creator of the universe or the expression thereof. Whether it's one or God. It's however, the human brain processes it in archetypes, or or they see a literal old man in the sky. Whatever you do, that's you, right? That's your personal beliefs. I find it very disheartening in this day and age that you would have people that talk about the infallible will of God and God's mysterious unknown plan,
Right.
come in front of somebody else's place of spiritual worship or spiritual things that they need, and claim that you're wrong because they know God's unknowable plan, right? So I just, that's kind of where I was at, that, come high or hell water, we didn't really care about that. That was the only thing I was worried, because I didn't want to be disappointed in my fellow American after all the years I spent,
Yeah.
doing the thing.
Yeah, and we would never want it to be hard for
And we'd
our
never do that,
customers
yeah.
who want to come into our store, and
And of course, we would never begrudge anybody else for their own beliefs or anything else. We've been down that road where
Just be a good human.
Yeah, we grew up in strict churches. We really did. We had two different church experiences, but we grew up in, small towns. And so, yeah, you didn't want to get out of bounds socially, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, yeah, you just want your freedom, and, you want
Be able to express that.
Yeah, and you want everybody else to be able to do that too.
I think that is what is ultimate freedom. Like, what is freedom? Permission to be yourself.
Right.
And then the right people will stay around. And
Right.
Like,
and that was
is
one of the goals.
amazing.
Right. And that was one of the goals with starting this show, was just to have those authentic conversations with people and kind of step away from the 3-minute soundbite, the 30-second soundbite, or whatever that you see all over social media, or however you want to consume it, on the news, whatever, and actually be able to talk to people about things that are genuine and authentic and real, and be able to let people listen to that and get back to having these genuine conversations instead of trying to just spit out sound bites at each other.
And also having these genuine conversations with just like an amalgamation, just a variety of different kinds of people, because that's
Right.
what makes the community anyways, is like if everybody had the same exact viewpoints, things wouldn't be very interesting or
and
exciting.
we're all so different.
Right.
We can all contribute in different ways. But yeah, I've heard it often said that we're so over-connected that we are disconnected. And so just having good conversations.
It's a tremendous value that I think a lot of people, not a lot of people don't get, but maybe we just want to offer it to people in a different way. You know what I mean? Or have another platform for them to talk or communicate or get involved or whatever it is that they're looking for. And people do have so many different genuine, like, human experiences. My experience is going to be different from yours, it's different from Matt, different from Dave's. And those all kind of add up to bring us to sitting at a poker table in Everything at Once Studios, you know what I mean?
Well, we're happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of like how the shop is as well, is that, we can come around the cauldron, the table. And Cauldron and Thorne, just to touch on as well, since it kind of led here, is that, when we came up for the name for Cauldron and Thorne, when you think about the cauldron, when you think about a cauldron and how it was used, it's the heart of the home. Medicine was made into it, good conversation. You shared, food around it. You kept warm around it. It's where the community came together. And then you have Thorne, which is very, if you look up the metaphysical properties of it, it's very protective. And so we wanted to create a space where everybody could come and sit around and be respectful to everybody and understand that what we do have in common. Somebody else wants to hang out with us.
She's our studio manager, making
Good
sure
job.
we do a good job. She appreciates what
She
you guys
comes
are
down
doing.
when she's extremely interested in what's going on down here.
Exactly.
So that's a good
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Okay, good. Then we are good. But yeah, it's for everybody to be able to come around and, while everybody comes from different walks of life and has all different perspectives and experiences, what we do have in common is that we're all working on ourselves. And so the big thing about Cauldron and Thorne in our shop, and with that supply for the soul of coming into the grocery store and getting what you need today, whether you want to get some herbs because you want to make a nice, thoughtful, meditative a bath ritual. The outside world knows about, lavender. We drink lavender tea for calming. We know that as well. Chamomile tea, very popular. Well, there's many, many more herbs that have beautiful energies attached to them. And so the idea of being able to combine maybe, a candle with some herbs, with some crystals, and put it all together to be able to just help you, move forward into what it is that you really want in life and to be able to focus on it. Because we're here. And then we all want it. What we do have in common is that we want to have a beautiful quality of life. We want to get through this experience in a good way.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, of the cauldron and stuff, and bringing everybody kind of coming together and collecting that energy and that experience and spending that time, because I think that, like, a lot of, there's science that shows we all put out vibes, and things absorb vibes and put out different vibes and all that stuff. And as far as, like, transforming your space went, because I believe it was a bank before you guys moved in.
It was always a retail.
It was,
I think it was a restaurant at one point.
Okay.
It's kind of like a building that had parts.
Yeah,
merged.
where we were first in, that area was a restaurant and diner from back in the 50s. The other part was built in 1992, I do believe. The people that had it built, the DeSantis's were there. It was a Christmas tree shop.
Oh, okay.
Which is why it has that kind of funky
yeah.
layout. I thought it might have been the church at first, just because
does
of
have
the
that feeling.
So
yeah.
big. And those
Yeah.
high ceilings, yeah.
And then it became a janitorial supply, and there was a number of different things in there. And then there was another retail shop that was kind of like a
Someone's making biscuits.
gift shop. Yep, yeah, making the biscuits.
Very important.
Yes.
More
So-
biscuits, please.
And then we showed up, and I was looking forward to it to be slow because I wanted to catch up on all these books
Oh, I
that I
remember
actually
that.
bought in. I'm like, I don't care if nobody shows up, I can catch up on all my
We
books.
actually thought for a moment that
Yeah.
when we started like sourcing all the stuff for our stores as people, as connoisseurs of this as well in practice, that, this would be a great opportunity to be able to read all the books that we ever wanted to read,
Right,
have
yeah,
access
just
to
hanging
get
out.
them.
Yeah.
Well, man, we opened it and
Yeah, we didn't have enough books at the end of the first weekend to.
good luck with that.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
guys' bookshelves are pretty nice, though.
Thank you, appreciate that.
After perusing them, there's some good stuff.
Well,
on
we
there.
just added in our 217 titles
Wow.
yesterday.
there's
Huge.
a lot to learn
Yeah.
in the metaphysical space.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many aspects, which
My
is what's
problem-
so
yeah.
exciting.
I think my problem is I want to know it all, and I can't. Whether it's high magic or low magic, or hedge witchery or elemental magic, or even New Age, things like that. And there's just so much that I will never know it all, and that's
Knowledge is power.
That was one of
That's
my
a big
older
thing.
goals when I was a young lad. Was by like 40, I would know everything. I was pretty convinced by 40.
Yeah, but you know what? You probably accomplished that at 16 because I knew everything at 16.
Oh well, I see. The thing is I felt that way, but I knew there were probably some things I didn't know.
Right.
But I don't think that's ever going to be.
Never-
Got a
at this
couple
point.
years.
Yeah.
Couple years.
Yeah,
They're
I
gonna
still
get
got a
there.
few years
Yeah.
left. Maybe
I
I'll get
believe in
it.
you. Yeah.
Never admit defeat. Just go with the 16. Yeah, I knew everything when I was a teenager, and I still do.
Exactly. I should have
right.
just kept that mentality,
You
right?
should just get audiobooks, listen while you sleep.
As far as like cultivating the vibes, though, how did you guys do anything to help transform that space? Because I feel like it's when I go into your store, I feel it. You know what I mean? From all of the different things around the herbs, everything that.
It was very brown when we first got there. It was very brown.
Yes, we put our own spin onto it. We do a lot of spiritual housekeeping and cleansing. We, like you said about, everything has energy to it, and it was very important to us to, just to do energy cleansing and
Sure.
upkeep. And we view that as just like you would do in your normal space, that you would housekeep and you sweep and you kind of, do those things. It's the same thing.
As far as flipping it, I think we got on March 18th, and we were open, painted, ready to go by April
When we
1st.
expanded?
Yeah, when we
Oh my
expanded.
gosh.
The expansion.
So
Yes.
so the expansion into the 1,000-foot space into the 10,000-foot space actually was a shorter time frame than when we opened the first shop. And so
weeks, yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying to think here, but it was important to me. I needed a big God statue. I needed fountains. I was like, I think she thought I was joking when I said we need a fountain in the middle of the store. So one day I went and I'm like, we went to
You
Home Depot.
manifested it.
Yeah, we went to Home Depot and I'm like, I got a budget of $500 for building a fountain. And we did. We built a fountain.
Yep. We
Now
did,
the
brick by
fountain.
brick.
Yeah, and now the fountain. We got a huge gate. We got a fountain with 4
You guys have
owls.
like a hearth too. Like
Yeah,
a
We do.
fire.
Yeah.
Actually, that was in the original shop, and the cauldron, which
We
is
bought it, moved it in, yeah.
the cauldron, which is now
On top
the
of the
fountain on top of the fountain where the water comes out of. If you were in the old shop, it actually bubbled and smoke came out of
okay,
it and
cool.
stuff like that. But
Now it pours, yeah.
now it comes out.
a little
So
bit differently.
I miss the smoke though.
But everything we put in there, we're very thoughtful about. We can look at every single thing and know why it's there. So we just don't put things in there to put things in there. We listen to our customers, which has always been, we listen to ourselves and feeling that nudge and that idea that just kind of downloaded and went, we should do this, moved with it. And people came and, we are very, very thankful for our customers because we recognize that, especially in today's age of just the expense There's just so many businesses out there right now. It's very saturated. There's a lot of businesses, and how do you make yourself stand out and be different? And I would definitely say that, me and Matt, we do not follow anybody else. We follow ourselves.
Right.
So I think that's always helped us.
Nobody should follow
Nobody
us.
knows what we're going to do next because we don't even know what we're going to do next.
Completely lost.
We just wake up. Like this morning we woke up and, that hour commute that takes us to get from our house to our store.
A lot of bad ideas.
We can move pretty quickly
I can imagine.
because we can bounce ideas off of each other pretty quickly. We've been together for a very long time, for a couple decades, and now we can bounce ideas, come to an idea, and just kind of know. And I think that with every decision that you make and what happens of it, you gain extra confidence, so you're able to make decisions faster based on what happened before. And that, like I said, all those experiences just kind of filter through you, and you're like, yes, no, really quick. But that hour actually serves us really well because it's like a meeting every morning. We're forced to sit next to each other in the car.
Either that or we just get mad at each other.
He can't jump out.
Just drive.
So that morning coming in or going home, and is a chance to really think about, okay, how did that go? How could we do better? Is there anything we'd like to change? That feel good. And so one thing that's always helped us is that literally when I say that we don't follow anybody, we just follow our own heart and just kind of what feels right.
We
for
go with
us.
our gut. We're very big with intuition. You have been referring to a lot lately is basically, if, whatever higher power you may believe in comes along and says, look, I need this done. And they give you, and that's an inspiration. That's inspiration.
Sure.
That's your muse.
Yeah.
And if it comes down, and if you ever notice that if you don't act on it and you just there, all of a sudden somebody 2 streets down goes, got this great idea.
Right.
I'm going to go do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you sat on
And that's the thing. If you sit on it, the universe is going to move on, man.
Yeah, and
it is going
wants
to move
things to happen.
because it needs that flow of energy to keep continuing down the direction. So yeah,
We
so
listen to our
did that.
customers. We we also know that if somebody comes to you and they say, "Hey, I'm interested in this," not everybody will speak up, but usually one customer, it can represent a lot of people that might be feeling the same way. Like they'd love to see this or that or something, and so we pay really, really close attention to that. Customer service is very important to us and taking care of our people.
Yeah, even down to the color. Sorry, it's the mountain speak. Color. The color of the walls, the adornation of it, the Toss statue. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there. A lot of people come in and go, "Oh, I see you have a 10-foot statue of Thoth overlooking the store. Is he your patron god?" Well, no. He is one of the representatives there. I'm very fond of him being the god of magic, being the god of writing and create. He is in the Bible. It's referred. He's the formless one. He's the one that formed himself out of nothing. The interesting thing about it is his alter form as the baboon, the creative force. His name is Jehudi, which the Greeks have kind of bastardized later on, and a lot of people recognize it as Jehovah nowadays. So there's active debate going on. That's not what they mean. Well, Jehudi and Jehovah are pretty damn close, in as far as that goes. So Jehovah, Yehudi, there's a common there's a common ancestry between ancient deities, right? Deities, I look at them as archetypes of creative force. That's like there's a great YouTube channel called Esoterica, which Dr. Justin Sledge procures. He did one the other night about Yahweh. It's very intellectual. He has a very dry sense of humor, but it's no nonsense. It's very collegial, very collegiate, not collegial, but very collegiate. And where he talked about, he's a rabbi, but he talked about the start of Yahweh as a warrior storm god among the Canaanites. And then just across the way, you had Baal, who was the other storm warrior god. And they're kind of like the amalgamation of the two, right? And they used to share shrines and things like that. And then it's just an evolution of archetypical belief through the ages. And then finally you get to, you get to years and years of tradition and years of building up, and then that's how you get, from point A to point B, right? So, my important thing is when people come to the store, it's important for me and our employees as well to check your personal beliefs at the store to help out whoever comes in to try to connect point A and point B and kind of fill in those blanks that they might not have about those other things.
Sure.
And not do it with bias. But if you come in, a lot of people, like what they're saying is they look and they see Toth, but there's a lot of Easter eggs of the other gods in the store, like the gate, the keys hanging from the gate. For you, Hecate, which is, all about that, the owls, the fountain, all these different things and different types of, Norse beliefs, Greek beliefs, Hellenistic Greek, Egyptian, Abrahamic, all these different things are represented in our store with just objects in our store that most people just walk by and they don't even realize it. So next time you're in, do the Easter egg hunt.
All right. Do you guys have like an actual Easter egg hunt that I could do? That would be really fun.
You know what?
Suggestion
I forgot.
for you.
We're getting towards Easter. We talked about last year, but I think we had a Halloween party for the kids this year, and the kids went feral halfway through it, and I barely survived it. So I don't know if I want to encourage that behavior.
Like a scavenger hunt would be really fun though, because I notice a lot of the things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
All the different belief systems and different Easter eggs, as you're calling them.
So, babe, yeah.
I'm triggered right now.
You're triggered.
Oh no, I didn't mean to. I apologize.
No children.
No eggs. But if you had like a scavenger,
No
scavenger
or the
hunt.
nods to the things.
No inflatable dinosaur suit.
So listen,
Yeah,
we
no.
go all out, okay? So we even entertain the little of our customers. We are pet friendly, and we have a lot of children as well, right? Families that come out, and so it's kind of funny because we hosted a kids party
Which was covered
in
on the
October.
news,
Yeah, Matt may or may not have been the dancing DJ dinosaur.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
But at some point between
He may have got a few.
It's
punches
Raining
in the
Tacos,
nose and-
Oh no.
yeah, between
So he's
It's
a little
Raining
triggered there.
Tacos and Disco Vampire, I think something happened where the kids turned and they attacked.
No, they turn fast.
Hidden
All the
messages.
feral children I know are actually extremely well behaved. So I don't know if
That might have been it too. They might have just got to a point where the sugar and the
Everything,
the
yeah.
adrenaline, it just broke, and
Next year, we've decided not to do candy, no sugar for
It was
anybody.
like-
You just dance.
It was
Yeah.
like an underage Club
helps to contain
54 in 1978, right?
So you guys have a lot of different stuff going on at the store and a lot of different representation. If I'm walking into your store, not with the intent of like where I go like, oh, that's Toth, or oh, I know what I'm looking at. Like, say I'm a beginner,
Right.
and I'm just going in because I'm curious. What direction do you point me in? Like, where do I start?
When you come in, there's a guidepost there that has arrows hanging off every different way that says tarot, incense, whatever. There's something there for everybody.
Yeah.
But if you come in with this, and you're curious about something, truly curious, come up and ask anybody. They will be more than happy to help you. And if they can't help you, they'll come get somebody who can help you.
I always say to somebody, if you walked in and you said something like that to me, I'd probably say, well, this is a store where we all work on ourselves. And so let me ask you, what is it that, what's your intention? What is it that you're seeking? What is it that you want to bring more of into your life? Where would you like, what's your goals? What are you trying to accomplish as you move forward?
There's a lot of hexing of boyfriends and exes that's requested, but I just point them towards the books. I don't get involved in that. I don't want it brought upon myself, so I'm just like, over there.
So, but you do have books for that.
Yes.
Oh,
We do have books.
We have a book for that.
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, we have to serve the entire public, right?
Right. Gotta give the people what they need.
Yeah, that's part of the mission, So just letting the guys of Erie out there know, or women of Erie, be careful.
Right.
Because
Is there rose quartz in your socks?
is there something that's underneath your table that wasn't there before that was kind of odd and out of place? So just be nice, people. Be
nice.
Be nice to each other.
So I think it all comes down to like intention of what somebody is looking to do. It could be somebody just walks in and goes,
things have just been weighing me down. I'm just feel the stresses, and I feel like I want to get back to my usual self. Maybe we steer them towards, have you been doing your journaling lately? Gratitude journaling, and finding something to be thankful for, pairing it with a gratitude, something that has the energy to be a gratitude stone, and just kind of like getting your focus. When you just feel like you're really off. And so, or sometimes it's just a nice bath and putting in some thoughtful things, or lighting a candle, or, sending up something to the universe that you've lost touch with, but you're ready to bring it back into your life.
One of the things you guys have been hitting on, at least that resonates with me, is that you are making like the daily, mundane, normal tasks into a spiritual ritual. At least that's like what's coming to me when you guys are talking about these things, like your drive to work and the things going on at the store. And what you just said about taking a bath or lighting a candle or doing the journaling is that there are so many ways for people to get in touch with that spirituality, that higher self, that higher power, whatever it is that's out there that can make them feel better internally, spiritually, nourish their soul.
So much coming at us on a daily basis. You think ads and social media, and we get into this go, 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 and we've heard it referred to it as the rat race. And, whatever, you're on the platforms and you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
you binge, whatever. Yes, Netflix, I'm still watching.
Right.
And so taking the time to turn all that off and tune into yourself. What is it that you really want? Because, like we do full moon, we do new moon rituals, and we live very much in sequence and try to pace ourselves and just live in harmony with nature in cycles versus going against it. We can take a lot of lessons from the seasons and things that happen around us, right? We're just coming right now, and this has been a slower time. We're talking about our animals and not going out so much because it's been cold. We've been hanging out together more inside, right? But pretty soon, that will change for us. And so learning the rhythm that, maybe things in life have seasons as well, and that's okay. Every time has a different season. But our shop is about, reminding you that, like we have full moon coming up on Friday night, and we just do an open gathering. And you mentioned the full moon, a big flashlight in the sky. What an opportunity to shine inward and say, okay, what have I been working on this last month? What do I want more of? What do I want to banish? What do I want to let go of? What do I want to walk into this next month of with more of in my life? Worries, anxieties, things that just kind of get me down. Leave that behind, and then move forward and feel lighter, because we are our biggest project. And so, you can work on the same things again month after month, but it's all in hopes of living a much more positive life that you personally want to live.
Right. And for me personally, I feel like a lot of times the solution is really simple. When I have like a problem or something that's reoccurring in my life, or a certain activity that keeps causing me grief or trouble or issues, the answer is always really simple, but putting into practice becomes the very complicated part. And trying to make things into a lot more than what they actually are. A lot of times, I tell this to people all the time that I work with, that the hardest part of doing any task is the half hour, 45 minutes, day, whatever, before you actually do the task, when you're convincing yourself about all of the
head work, the mental work.
The procrastination.
Oh, boy, yes.
We by nature are procrastinators, I think.
And it cannot even happen yet, but we can have convinced ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's going to be awful too, and you don't want to do it. And then whenever you actually do it, it's never as bad as it seems to be in your head.
Yes.
I think I got to a point in my life where that I have a dichotomy of two approaches. No matter what happens to me, that the world's been, the universe has been kicking for billions of years before me, and it'll kick for billions of years after me. So what I do here and now is, yes, it's important to me. Yes, it's stuff I want to accomplish. But no matter what I do, everything's going to be fine. It just the way, it just because I think people get caught up into the thing where they make so much of themselves. And we live in a narcissistic society fueled by social media.
Likes.
That
need those likes.
Yeah, you got to remind yourself.
We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, please like this podcast.
Yeah, by the way, go over there and smash that like button while you're at it.
Yeah, do it. Like, subscribe, all those things.
But, we've gotten so much into the selfish, narcissistic thing that sometimes we got to remind ourselves is just because we exist doesn't mean the rest of the universe and everybody in the human race is obligated to us. So I'm very bad about that when I'm driving because I consider myself a professional driver. And I'm like, so it's like
professional NASCAR driver?
Yeah, that's
good.
In my own mind.
That
right?
makes sense.
So, anyways, but and then there's also the other side of that where I've kind of taken the George Carlin approach, whereas I am now a disinterested third-party observer of the human race. Whatever happens. I'm just waiting, just watching to see where it goes. So, on one hand, you're above everything, and on the other hand, you're trying to beat the selfishness out of you, right? So it's that toss in between, but I'm working on it.
Always a work in progress.
But it's good if you come to the full moon because we do a ceremony and we talk about the archetypes and different things for the themes of the
month,
of the season and the month.
It's all perspective.
To try to move you ahead.
Yeah, to really just get you in the good mindset place. There was a podcast I listened to a long, long time ago, and it's always stuck with me, kind of like on the heels of what Matt was saying, that, and it might have been Wayne Dyer, I believe it was. It was the whole thing.
Wayne W. Dwyer?
No, it was Tony and Dave.
It was this podcast.
Yes, and it was the point that you said. You said, basically that, okay, what about if we flip the narrative? So instead of every day going, okay, I want to be more spiritual. I want to be more spiritual. I want to tap in more. I want to be more awakened. I want to tap in more to more of my spiritual side. How about if we flipped it and we said, I am a spiritual being, but I'm living a physical life. And then isn't that so much easier, like to be easier on yourself, and at the end of the day, realizing that, hey, we're in the school of life here. What did you learn today? What did you like? What did you not like? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Because guess what? Tomorrow's a new day in class. And so if you want less of that, adjust your day. Take different classes. Go somewhere else. Move somewhere. You're not a tree. Just do something. But when you start to realize that, there's something that you can take from every single experience that you have, and then tomorrow's a fresh new day to hit reset.
Exactly. And it also, I like to give myself the opportunity to be wrong a lot too. And to be able to come back and look at that and say, this was obviously not my best performance maybe in whatever arena or field that I'm in, but I can look back at this. I can say I'm sorry if I made a mistake or if I hurt somebody, and I can work towards being better tomorrow and address that and have that internal awareness of where this is really coming from, this thing that I'm upset with. Because 9 times out of 10, it's got nothing to do with that situation. It comes
from within.
The strong emotions are coming from within and from with a past experience
And I always think too that it just reminds you that you're only human, and it probably only reminds you that you just want to do a really good job.
Exactly.
That you're really passionate about something.
But unfortunately, the person that got in my way is messing it up for me.
Their fault.
It's their fault. No, so
if people would just do what I wanted all the time, every time, things would be perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's the 10% thing we used to say in the Marine Corps. Just try to be 10% better next time, right? So, yeah.
It would be boring if we were all like, and every day was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I love variety, and I like hearing lots of different things about, all the different people and different belief systems, which is why we've had such a diverse group of people on here so far, and more diversity to come that I'm really excited to share with people once we get a little bit closer to those days. But I really appreciate the opportunity that you guys offer to people as far as like finding that spirituality, because you reach towards a group of people that I feel like has been disenfranchised. Maybe it's because of past religious or spiritual experiences, or maybe it's lack thereof. Right. And your store offers them a tremendous opportunity to get all these opportunities like have a hands-on place and like physical books that I can touch and physical people that I can talk to and ask questions and learn from if I'm searching for that kind of thing in my life, that kind of spirituality or a different form of spirituality than what I'm used to.
We get that point, and I think that from our backgrounds too is, you know, we understand that when you grow up in a church and everything you do that doesn't conform to, you're going to hell.
Oh yeah.
That's some serious deprogramming you got to do. And even though that, you know, we were a little bit more open as far as that went, you know, unless you did it in conjunction with church, you were still going to hell, you know. So, yeah, now that I'm older and I learn things like about Norse mythology, hell isn't such a bad place, you know. Farms, nice sun, you know, hey, you know, I can deal with that. But
it's no Valhalla, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if I want Valhalla either. So.
Yeah, that's right.
but the whole thing of it is, you know, that's some serious programming. Sonia has a great perspective on it. She always said that, you know, you spend the first 20 years of your life getting messed up because you're being programmed by other people the way they want you to be programmed.
Their own set of fears, their own set of their own upbringing.
Yeah, and then you spend the next 20 years of your life, I won't use the term here, but deprogramming. Let's call it deprogramming.
Yeah.
Deprogramming yourself, and then, you know,
it's neutral.
Yeah, and then once you hit 40,
Yeah.
there is so much. It's like it's this weird freedom, like amazing freedom that you get because you know who you are. You have no patience for people. You know, you just go and you just like, you know, I don't like it, fine. You know, I don't like you, fine. You know,
Right.
But you don't. There's that filter kind of goes away because you know who you are.
Yeah.
You're not trying not to hurt people, and you're not trying to hurt people, but you're just comfortable in your own skin. And if people can't deal with that, well, then that's them. That's not you. You know, and I treat everybody the way. It's not a golden rule thing. It's just I genuinely like people. I'm like a dog. Like, hey, you want to be my friend?
Right,
Hey, you know. Oh, you fed me. We're definitely friends now, right? You know, and things like that. And that's just my nature, and that's the way I've always been. You know, even in the Marine Corps, you know, people would be like, "You're so friendly," and you know, and in the same night you're in a combat zone later, you're like,
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just the way I am. And, you know, a lot can be said for, you know, the basic nature of people, you know. But once you get to 40, you've gotten rid of all that and you're stripped down to your basic nature, whether you're friendly, whether you're, you know, whether you're really ambitious and just go for it and things like that, you know. So you kind of strip away all these pretenses, you know, trying to be cool or wear the right things or say the right things when you're younger. You just shed all that.
You do the work, right?
Yeah.
You do the work. You get in touch with yourself.
Even if you don't realize you're doing the work, you kind of do it because one day you just have an epiphany and it's like gloves
Doesn't
are off.
matter anymore.
It's
I
time
think
to
that's
roll.
what happened. You know, we hear about the spiritual awakening. It's being termed. It's happening globally.
Age of
A lot of
Aquarius.
people
and the
hitting 40.
rise of things. You know what? I honestly just think that during the pandemic, that was a time when people, you know, whether they wanted to or not, they could have kept going through the rat race, right? And would have never, everything would have just stayed the same. But it changed, and it forced people, whether they were ready for it or not,
to deal with themselves.
you're going to have to take a look at what you've built around you. Do you love your job? Do you love the people you have around you in your life right now? Like, who are you surrounded by? You know, are you happy right now? Is this what you really want? Because how sad it is to climb the corporate ladder or to climb any ladder and realize this is not the view that I want. Why have I been climbing here, right? Like, and so, you know, I just think that, so I do strongly believe 20 years, somebody else's thinking program, 20 years to unprogram and kind of find out for yourself and live your own life. Then you're equal ground, and you're like, I am me, and this is the things that I stand for, I believe in, and you know what? Take me, leave me, but I am who I am. And so we just kind of, over the pandemic, that whether you hit that mark or not, age-wise we speak of, but it happened for everybody because now you were forced to think inward.
Yeah.
That's right. And the corporations hate it.
Yeah, they
It
do.
changed a lot,
It changed
right?
everything.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, we live in a different world now. And I think a lot of people have come to the realization that happiness is in their own pocket,
Yes.
right? And so you are the one that you are the creator, like, of your own life and whatever it is that you want your life to be. And so for me and Matt, it's like, we just step out and go, Rocky Horror. What's the words? Don't dream it, be it. You know.
Yeah.
We do fun stuff too. We have
we had Rocky
we celebrate
Horror.
cryptids, and we do. Yeah, we had a Rocky Horror show, but I'm coming up with his words now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you want to do it, like nobody's coming to do it for you.
Yeah, nobody's coming to save you.
Nobody's coming to save you.
Right.
So is there something that you want? Right? Your time right now on earth in this physical existence that we know. What is it that you want? Reach out and grab it. Like work towards it. And where it is that your focus, your energy and focus flows all in one. And so our shop is about getting back to intention. What is it that you want?
Yeah, hurry up and do
What
it
is
now.
going to help you get closer to what your dreams are and
Find
like
that
the life
space.
that you want to live, regardless of what anybody else thinks how you should live or the perception of what you're doing and putting it out into the world. Now, just be you, and you know what? True freedom,
Yeah.
permission to be
Make sure
yourself.
you do it now
Period.
before they fire up the Large Hadron Collider again. Yeah. So we have a theory that every time something happens, if you notice, everything has progressively gotten weirder and more out of control since they first started up the Large Hadron Collider.
Do you know that?
So now, anytime anything goes wrong anywhere, I'm like, Large Hadron
The Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
Some more Mandela effect stuff.
exactly.
Like, no, that happened that way. I lived it. I remember. It's like, no, it didn't. You know.
I saw somewhere
really is
a
jiffy.
while ago that there's a website where you can ask it a question and it will split an atom for you in one of the colliders, and
Right.
depending on which direction it goes, is like yes or no. So
The
you're
answer, yeah.
splitting off timelines and all that fun stuff
Well, that was the one I saw.
based off a website.
Yeah, I think that what he was saying about the Mandela effect, and you said Jiffy. I can remember Jiffy peanut butter when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't Jif, it was Jiffy, and I can remember the label.
They're gaslighting us.
They're gaslighting.
No, yeah, for
They
sure.
really are.
There was a movie in the '90s where Shaq was
Was the genie?
was
Yeah.
the genie.
Yeah.
And they're like, that
Kazam.
never happened. It was like a half a second in a commercial, and I'm like, that is not true.
No,
I lived through it.
I remember watching it. I think I
Yeah.
saw it on HBO, as a matter of fact. So that one, and what was the other one too that just recently happened?
Oh, the mirror
No,
on the wall.
yeah.
That one.
Well, yeah. What's he say? So,
And then the monocle. Who was it that? Whether they had. that?
the Monopoly Man, but
Yeah, there's a
but
bunch.
Mirror on the Wall, who's fairest on the wall.
Yeah,
She never said
they switched. No.
Magic Mirror.
Yeah,
on
on the wall.
Magic Mirror.
Go
on
look
the
it up.
wall.
There's something
yeah.
to it.
And the other one
Things that make you
too
go,
is the one that made me flip out is I remember the dad from Urkel. Remember the
Steve
dad?
Urkel?
Yeah. Remember the dad? I could swear to God he died like 08 or something.
Carl
like that.
Winslow. Yeah.
I thought he died, and he was on a Geico commercial not too long ago. I'm like, woo.
Yeah.
I'm like, he died.
But that's
the mom and the dad died. He was dead.
We're all living our own reality.
That's what I'm saying. Every time they fire up that Hadron Collider, we are pushed into another universe. So.
Reginald Val Johnson is just the first AI robot out there.
There you
for
go.
us,
Exactly. So,
The world's a really weird and crazy place.
Yes.
And
but it's fun.
It's fun and we enjoy it. And
Who needs drugs?
exactly. Your store offers a great way to experience it for a lot of people that they
thank
may
you.
not have been able to experience in the past around here, and I greatly
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Well, we
Yeah,
appreciate your feedback.
yeah,
It
And
means a lot.
appreciate you coming on. Everybody go out and check out Cauldron and Thorne,
That is us.
West
for the
8th
day.
Street.
Yeah.
What's the address?
2724 West 8th Street.
Check out their website.
Also 2726 could be the Mandela effect. Don't
Don't confuse the
Expansion pack.
listeners.
Yep,
Yeah.
that is the expansion pack. There you go.
Check them out on Facebook.
Our website is cauldronandthorn.com.
Or
cauldronandthorn.com.
witches.co, not .com, .co, witches.co. Cauldronthorne.com. And, 7 days a week, 11 to 7, except on Sundays, 11 to 5.
They're there.
Come out for an event. We had over 100 events over the last year. So
They're awesome.
come see us.
Yeah, the full moon coming up. This is Friday, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, this isn't going to come out before then. Sorry, people.
That's okay. There's every
But
month we do it.
every
month
full
we do it.
moon.
Yeah, it's
go
every
out there
month.
and check those out. They're
I
amazing.
need something. I'm
Full moon, new moon. Yeah.
I became a surfer in the military, and we don't have any tides here. I used to set my watch by tides, so I got to do it by the moon. So full moon's a big deal for me now.
Good.
It's a good time.
Also, like our stuff. Hit all the like buttons. Subscribe. Check us out.
Awesome.
Yes.
We do our best here. We keep trying to bring you guys really interesting, fun people. And
If you don't do it, we will hex you.
Oh yeah.
yeah, watch out. We know where to go now.
Yeah.
We'll get you.
Do
We'll get a
it.
book or two.
Well, let's
to get
say
you.
we might not do it, but we know people who will.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you guys all for tuning in. We
Thank
love you.
you.
Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
You know, we want to welcome everybody here.
Tony.
You know, obviously.
That's right.
I got Dave here.
I think that
You know, we want to welcome everybody here. Speaking of that, Celinda. You know, we want to welcome everybody here.
Everything all at once?
Everything all at once.
It's honestly a sensation.
Aliens listen to it.